All right. Hello, Austin County. Today, I am here with Ryan Orbin, Executive Director, and Jeremiah Campbell, Operations Director for Manna House, which is currently located in Brookshire, Texas. Gentlemen, thank you for being with me.
Hey, good to see you. Thanks for having us.
All right. I'm going to let you take. You can decide who's going to go first. Tell me a little bit about yourselves.
Absolutely. My name's Ryan Orbin. I'm about to be 46 years old, actually, this coming Monday. Husband to Rebecca, and I have father of 4 baby girls, 10 months, 4, 6, and 8 years old. And I've been the executive director at the Manna House now since April of last year. Was a former resident 11 years ago. It's a little bit of my backstory. I was a meth addict for 17 years before I had a radical encounter with Jesus in the Harris County Jail almost 12 years ago. So God's totally redeemed my life, brought it back full circle, and then now I'm just helping the Manna House steward the vision God has given us into the next generation. Jeremiah?
All right. Well, my name is Jeremiah Campbell, 44 years old. I beat him by 1. I have 5 children. 4 of them adopted, 1 biological. And I'll tell you their ages because he put me to the test. They're 13, 9, 8, 8, and 5. And so...
You guys have your hands full, I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah, collectively. But, in a former life, I was a chef and had a similar path as Ryan, dealt with substance abuse, primarily alcohol, and just went to a treatment facility. It was a faith-based facility, much like the Manna House, and God just sent me in a different direction. For the last better part of 20 years, I've worked in and out of ministries and nonprofits that have dealt with substance abuse.
Wonderful. Well, one of the things I want to say is that, we are Hello Austin County, but you guys are our neighbors, and addiction knows no boundaries. So I'm sure you've probably had people from Austin County.
Our resident advisor right now is from Sealy.
Yeah.
And,
all right. So
he's one of
that's
our
the thing is that's what we thought, it knows no boundaries. It's something that needs to be addressed no matter what. So, okay. So, most people probably have driven by it like I have. And tell me, what is Manna House and what's its primary mission? What are we looking at?
Absolutely. So Manna House is a 3-acre facility in Brookshire, Texas. It's a year-long men's discipleship program, a residential recovery and restoration center. Our mission is we want to see guys become set free, set apart, and set on fire for the kingdom of God. And that's a lot of what happened in my life, right? For 27 years, Manna House, almost 28 years, Manna House has helped over almost 1,000 men find freedom in Jesus, freedom from substance abuse. They've had that many residents. It was founded, our founder, Bob Mersman, started it with a friend of his from church, Dan Bowden, 28 years ago to help their sons that struggled with addiction. And it was actually his grandparents' property, Bob's grandparents' property. And it was used as a rental property, and one day his grandma threw him the keys and said, "Hey, see if you can do something with this property."
Wow.
And so at the same time, his pastor had been telling them that church wasn't in the pew, like church started the moment the service was over, and they just felt really convicted to turn that property into a place to help their sons. And so Bob's son was the first graduate there, and since then, almost 1,000 men have came through the doors at Manna House to find freedom in Jesus from substance abuse.
So you guys you never went through Manna House. You just were called to serve there.
I definitely went through Manna House.
Oh, okay.
That's how I got out to Brookshire, Texas. So,
okay.
12 years ago, I was living with a girl that I just in a terrible relationship I shouldn't have been in. We were smoking meth every day. My mental state just started to shake. It was like a bad movie. If you guys seen a movie like Fatal Attraction, that's kind of what it was. It was like just as toxic can be. And started battling with my sanity, and one day I heard an audible voice that said, "Get out of this house now." And my mind snapped. And over a 24-hour period, I was running through the streets of Houston thinking people were chasing after me that weren't really there. During that time, I stole 2 cars, trashed a hotel room, and I was in the second stolen car when the police found me. I charged the police. They tased me, and they stripped me of my clothes and took me to Harris County Jail in my underwear, put me in a crazy person suit. And it was there, hearing all these voices of shame and guilt that were just shouting me down. I just fell on my knees and I cried out to Jesus in the middle of all these convicts. And all I know is that over the next 23 days, God made himself very real to me. He had brought my dad back into my life, who hadn't been in my life in about 18 years. He paid for me to go to Manna House, and it was really just a God thing. I never heard of Brookshire, Texas before. I grew up on the southwest side of Houston, and I spent 8 months at Manna House, and I just let God clean me up. He just started beginning to deal with the wounds in my heart. You know, addiction is really the end result of a deep-seated wound and just trauma that we have been through. And so it's really not the problem. It's the manifestation of a bunch of other problems. And God just began to deal with me those, and he brought me a level of healing, and I just fell in love with Jesus. And so from there I said, God, what is it that you want me to do? Right. And you know, down in the South, you think if you're called by God, it means go to seminary or you're going to be a preacher or something. And I said, okay, what do I do? Go to seminary, God? And God said, I opened up the Bible to Jeremiah 29. It said, pray for the city where I sent you into exile, for in its welfare, you'll find your welfare. And I said, well, that's easy. I'm in exile in Brookshire, Texas. Never heard of the town before. I guess you're keeping me here. And a long story short, I left the Manna House and went to work for another nonprofit helping at-risk youth in the community. That was a 90% fatherless community. I was very fatherless at the time. We ran with the vision that God had given us, started a community center out there called The Hangar. Been doing that for the past 10 years. And then this year, God called me back over to Manna House when Bob decided to retire. I've been next door neighbors with him since I left Manna House, and he asked me would I help take it from him? And so God brought me on board, and God brought Jeremiah a couple months there and a couple months before that. And so God just really knew what he was doing, really put a great team together to really help steward a really fresh vision of what God has done over the past 27 years. But we got some exciting things planned in the future for Manna House there.
All right. So I know that Manna House blends the biblical principles with the 12 steps of AA. Do I have that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we know the catalyst for men coming into the program, to our New Start program, is absolutely a substance abuse issue. It's drugs, it's alcohol, it's that life debilitating issue. But we thoroughly believe that it's something, as Ryan had already touched on, it's deeper than that. And even the fundamental, the foundation of AA and the 12 steps and those principles, God's woven in through all of that. And so we do offer a recovery-based approach in that sense, but ultimately we believe that it's a relationship with Jesus Christ that's going to break all of those barriers, all the things that those guys walked in there with, everything that they came in there dragging. They're going to get rid of it through that relationship with Christ.
Okay. And so it sounds unique. So what exactly makes it different than other recovery? Because, you see there's recovery centers almost everywhere. What makes y'all's different than the others?
Absolutely. So I'll tell you this, we're not a medical model facility. We don't have a staff. We don't issue meds, anything like that. So if there's some more serious diagnosis, it wouldn't be a good fit for our program. But we don't take insurance. We run by donations, and we do charge tuition, but we keep it as cheap as possible because our primary purpose is we want to help men, and we know that the God can use the addict almost above anybody else. Because one thing that we know how to do, we call it, we know how to go 10 toes down for something. We know how to go all in. We went all in for the streets, all in for drugs and alcohol and chasing women, all those things. If you get our hearts turned around, we will go all in for Jesus, and God will use us in a mighty way. And so we want to provide that opportunity for each man to say, hey, your story can be redeemed. Where you're at now, God will totally give you beauty for ashes. And we're a safe place where you can come with a bunch of guys that have been where you've been, that have gone through some of the same hurts and hangups that you have been through. And we can help you walk this thing out. And so we really believe that in Brookshire, Texas, God is really creating a community of recovery. We want our guys to settle back out there in Brookshire. We believe God is doing something unique in this town, and we want you to stay close and stay even beyond graduation. We want to help. We believe every man is called by God to be a leader of their home and their communities. And we want to put that DNA in them from day one. Say, hey, this is just the beginning of your story. It's not the end of it.
So this is a men's only facility.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do y'all have a sister?
Absolutely. So we're really good friends with the Boaz House. A good friend of mine, Christina Boaz. She was a drug addict for many, many years. God really used me in her life to speak some life into her. She walked a similar journey of both of us, and she started the Boaz House about 8 years ago. And so we do a lot together with them, and then with the Hangar in Brookshire. So we do have co-ed AA meetings on Friday nights. We do a lot of times unified church services at the Hangar. There's a lot we do to serve the community of Brookshire broader than just our recovery program.
Okay. Now, when a resident comes, do they stay at the facility?
Yes, ma'am.
In a hack. Okay, and I guess what I was going to say is, when you go to stay, do you stay in a house? Is it an apartment? Is it what do y'all have to house the people who come?
Yes, ma'am. It's a house. So the men stay in rooms together, no more than 4 to a room.
Okay, so it's not a door.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
All right.
It's over 100-year-old pier and beam house. It was Bob's grandparents' house, and like I said, we can house 14 men right now there.
Okay.
And actually, it's I don't know, we were talking about old movies before we started, but there was a movie filmed there in the early 80s called Liar's Moon with Matt Dillon. And so some of the scenes from that were actually filmed inside the Manna House.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It has historical value.
That's nifty. All right. So what is the day-to-day look like? Do you have structure? Do you have what?
I'll take that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they have a very regimented structure, and it's a phased program. There are 3 phases throughout the program, and the first phase is more intensive as far as on the curriculum side, on the classroom settings. They would wake up. A typical day looks like waking up at 7 a.m. The men prepare their own breakfast, and they get ready for their first classes at 8 a.m. They go into a time of praise and worship and prayer where we all come together collectively and we worship God. And then they go into their first class at 9 a.m. And then they go into a time of MOH, which is Ministry of Helps, where they'll help out around the property, mowing, weeding 3 acres. You can imagine it needs to be kept up. Yeah, exactly. So our guys help do that, especially in the first 4 months of the first phase of that. And then they go into some afternoon classes, and then they will have an evening class as well. And these are classes that are biblical based. We have various teachers that come in. They're targeted. We have many different areas of one's life that we target with very intentional teaching. And so that's pretty much a day in the life of a guy at the Manna House.
So basically, it's that whole thing about you get up, kind of put yourself back into a routine.
Yes, ma'am.
You get up,
absolutely.
you do the same stuff, you contribute and all this stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Are any of them good cooks?
It's funny you should add that. We have quite a few excellent cooks right now. And not only Jeremiah, who's got a chef's background, but there's 3 different guys there that have a cooking background right now. So the guys eat well every night.
Too well. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we have a few pictures here. This is something that they do. Is this how far into the program, I guess, would this be? Is this immediate, whenever they're ready?
Yeah, so it's a personal decision for everybody. You know, if they've made a decision to go all in with Jesus, you know, the first step of obedience, many would say, is to get water baptized, right? And so it's just an outward sign of our inward commitment to Jesus. And so we leave that up to the guys, but we definitely make it available there. So this is actually my 2 oldest daughters in the pictures right here, and one of those is a guy, Nick, who's fixing to go into phase 3 of the program right now. He's been a good friend of mine for a few years. And then a friend of mine who gave his life to Jesus that I knew a couple of years ago. He's never a resident in our program, but he was younger, kind of straying away a little bit. And he reached out to me and said, man, I really feel convicted that I haven't really said yes to Jesus and I want to get baptized. And so me and him have been meeting weekly for the past couple of weeks. So we can look. One of the commandments of the Bible is the Great Commission, and it says to go, therefore, baptize, and teach to obey everything I commanded. Jesus, it was like his last marching orders he gave to the disciples. So we believe that every believer is supposed to be baptized, and in fact, that every believer should be a baptizer as well. It's actually commanded by God. And so we want to give every guy there the opportunity to both be baptized or be a baptizer.
Yeah. Okay, and then we had looks like you guys take trips too?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So we had our first annual Big Bend trip this November, and we already have the next one scheduled for 2025. And some just absolute pivotal stories from that trip. One of my favorite stories is we had a gentleman, and he'd never been on a mountain in his life, never even seen anything like it. And it was about halfway up our first hike. And he comes to me, and I'm standing on a rock, and I'm just looking out and being all stoic. And he comes up to me. I think he's just sweating profusely. And I think he's just really struggling to hike. And he gets closer and closer to me, and he puts his arm around me. And I look at him. There's no perspiration anywhere on the guy. He's just bawling. He's just crying. And he looks at me. He's like, I never thought I'd ever be able to do anything like this in my life. He said, I've been in jail, I've been on the streets, and here I am standing just looking over at God's creation. And it was one of the coolest things that I've ever experienced personally. You know, I take for granted and have been blessed to go on many hikes and seen a lot of cool landscape. This guy's never seen anything like that. And so this was one of the more pivotal things I think that we've done since we took over. And
so y'all go different places and stuff. And I guess what I want to know is this the idea of all the things that these gentlemen missed because they had strayed, or they're beginning to learn, like fellowship, camaraderie, some self-discipline, all of these things?
All of the above.
Yeah.
And so we definitely want to hit some of those things. There's, like Jeremiah was saying, a lot of these guys, like in that picture, there's over 50 years of prison time in that picture right there. You know, and so some of these guys have never been on a trip, right, like this. And so it was definitely life-changing. The guy in the middle there, Richard, he had gotten, I forget what the story was, but he can barely walk over a year ago.
broke his back.
Yeah, broke his back and he could barely walk. And we hiked more that day. The first day we hiked over 13 miles and about 5,000 foot in elevation change. And that guy did it without anybody, like, any stopping, any complaining, any griping. It's just amazing what we can do and what God can redeem. You know, his word says that he will restore the years the locusts have eaten. And it's just a promise we believe in. So yes, everything you said, yes, we love that the guys, our fellowship, the fellowship that we're really a family there. We're really a family. And we just love each other. We cut for each other. And, you know, we want to be held accountable by one another because you can't do this life alone. Alone is dangerous.
I was going to say, and that too, I think, is one of the things that people don't have anybody to say, hey, you're messing up.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
You know, and like Greg and I are fortunate. We had parents that did that.
Yeah.
You know, our mom and dad was like, no more, you know, get it together.
Yeah.
And so that's wonderful that even though it's later in these gentlemen's lives, you're actually able to do that.
Hey, can I speak to something real quick? Sure. You just reminded me of when you said that your parents, how they drew that boundary with you. And I just kind of wanted to say, for anybody that's listening that might have a family member that's struggling with addiction, the best thing that happened to me besides Jesus was when my family finally did that to me. After 17 years of me running them through hell and high water, right? They said, hey, you are not welcome in my house anymore. They said, we're not bailing you out of jail. You're not welcome at my house anymore unless we specifically invite you. They took the keys back that I had, everything. And they said, hey, we hate to do this, but we see the path that you're on and we're not in agreement with it. And so drawing that boundary and holding to it was probably one of the hardest things they had to do collectively, but it was the beginning of the end for me. And so I appreciate that your parents said that. And we are very direct when it comes to some of those things, especially with guys early on, because I know that's what I need to hear. I need to hear it as direct as you can give it, because as an addict with an addict mind frame, if I feel like there's any wiggle room to try to manipulate or wiggle out of it or try to find an easier, softer way, I'm going to try to take it. So I need the straight dope. Give it to me as straight as you can be. Tell me where I'm screwing up. Tell me what I need to do. And then let me make the adjustment from there. So.
Oh, and to that too, he already mentioned about our desire for them to consider relocating or just living in Brookshire or the surrounding area. We want to keep that family environment. We want to be able to be close to them and see them out at the grocery store or wherever, and be able to look them in the eye and know if something's going on, and keep that level of accountability. And I think that's what's going to bolster their chance for success, is being around these guys who know when they're playing around and know when they're not being honest, and know when they're going through something and struggling. We can look them in the eye and say, hey man, what's going on? Pull them to the side and be there for them.
I'll say, yeah, you're kind of like the dad that, you know, that you see him on the street doing the wrong thing.
Absolutely. We all need it, right? We all.
Oh yeah, we definitely all do. I'm as guilty as anybody else. I know that you guys said you charge a small tuition fee. So most of everything else is donation, and I know that you guys have the bicycle shop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, this showed said donation. Were y'all doing a drive-through something?
Yeah, this was at the Hangar, which is the community center that I had helped start with the organization I was with before, Manna House. But every month we serve over 400 families with the drive-through food distribution. We started that during COVID, and it's just kept on for the past 5 years. And the fourth Friday every month, cars are lined up before the sun comes up. and they line up, and we have just great partners like Goya Foods, the Houston Food Bank, Country Boy Sausage. They donate every month. And so we get out there, serve our community, pray with folks in the line, and just try to be a service, because that's one of the things that's going to help us keep sober, is working with others and giving back.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So you have that, any other new programs or expansions or anything that you guys are considering to further the mission that you're on?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, we just partnered with an organization called the Stoller Foundation. They're a grant writing organization, and they're helping us out with a small grant to start what we're calling the Acts 1631 initiative. So if you had your Bible, you looked up Acts 16:31, it says, "Believe in the Lord Jesus and you will be saved, you and your household." And in the original language of the Bible, that word household, it's called oikos, and it means everybody you're connected to. And we really believe that's a promise from God, that if we reach the man with Jesus, that the entire lineage of that person is going to forever be changed. And so we want to not only reach the man that's in our place, we want to reach their family and people they're connected to. And so the Acts 16:31 initiative is going to be our desire to reach family members, not only with the gospel of Jesus Christ, but with the tools to walk alongside their loved ones going forward, and how this life change is going to happen. And so we're going to do that by having community gatherings with our residents and their families quarterly. And then we're going to have weekly support groups for family members starting in our chapel here in the next month or so. And it'll be open not only to family members of our residents, but to our partners like the Boaz House that I spoke of before. Their residents, family members would become, or anybody that's got a loved one that's struggling with addiction. We want to start that and just help them walk and navigate those things. Because again, like we said earlier, addiction is something that has touched every family in one way, shape, or form.
Right. And there's so many people that don't have a support group, like you said, because of absent parents. What's bad is these days, before it was the absent father, but these days you have absent mothers as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so they're kind of left. Okay. Let's go on to, again, with your, fundraising. All right. The bicycles. Cause that was what it sounds funny, but that's what always attracted my eye. I'm driving along. I'm like, oh, those bicycles.
Yeah.
So what is your Manna bikes and what do you do with them?
Yeah. Well, I mean, keeping with the thread of restoration and what the Manna House was founded on, we take in old bikes. I mean, sometimes looking that like they're beyond repair,
right,
and we'll restore them and we'll sell them for an affordable price to the community. And we also partner with other communities and we donate many bikes. We just donated 25 bikes to at-risk communities. We also are going to begin a project. So we had some bikes that started coming up missing, and we finally decided, hey, let's put up some cameras. So we put up some cameras, and within a week, we caught a local youth stealing some of the bikes. And so it spawned an idea to bring them in and have them work with our guys in the bike shop, start to repair, learn how to work on these bikes and do something for themselves. And we want to expand that program. So we have a grant that's been put in, and we're hoping to receive that this year. And we want to expand that bike shop and want to expand the programming to allow youth to come in, work on their own bikes and get their hands dirty, and then work alongside our residents.
That's good. That gives both of them responsibility. It gives the kids something creative to do and the adults something to help with it. And these days, not everybody has to go to college. Yeah. You can learn a trade and make some money with it, and especially with everybody wanting to be sustainable and suggesting to ride bikes and things like that, to be able to repair them is amazing.
And the real benefit is, just from sharing my little bit of story, my two biggest hearts are guys in recovery and, fatherless youth. Like that was my story. Right. And and we're just bringing these two things together, right? Like we want the kids in our community to be able to know that, hey, you don't have to go the route that we chose. Yeah. And it's just really neat to see them begin to build relationships with our residents. And like I said, our guys are the most stand-up guys there are, man. Those are the guys you want in a foxhole with you, And so they're so quick to share their stories, to share their hearts with these young guys. And fixing the bikes is neat, but it's really about the relationships that are needed, because there is a fatherless, a motherless generation out there. Yeah. And it's going to take all of us to walk alongside, put our arms around these young men and just say, hey, look, you don't have to go to the streets. You don't have to do this. There's a God that loves you, and we want to help introduce you to him, and we want to walk this thing out with you. And so it's just been really neat to see God bring these things together through this young man that was stealing our bikes. And soon as we saw on the camera, I was like, man, I know that kid, he was one of my boys at the hangar. And I said, okay, here, we have an idea. We reached out to his mom and we said, look, and I showed him the camera. She knew it was him. And I said, I have an idea. Why don't you let him come work with us all summer long at the bike shop? And he did. And he just loved it, man. He wrote the sweetest letter about what God was doing. And that's really the beta test for this new program we're rolling out with, really going to help these young men in our community.
I was just saying too, like you said, it's not, these things are not, they're not the cause, they're the manifestation. And so this young man, if y'all hadn't caught him, might have gone down a bad road.
Or if somebody else would have caught him.
True.
And that's the first thing I said to him. I said, this is Texas.
And
you don't have to be up to somebody on somebody's property. They could shoot you for no reason. Like, just think about how this happened with us, how it happened with, hey, Ryan's over here running this place now. Me, like, only God could orchestrate stuff like that,
right. Yeah, and you got to kind of keep an eye on them. Okay, the other thing is coffee, which is, especially now that it's wintertime.
Oh, yeah.
Coffee. Tell me about Awakening Coffee.
Want me to take that one? Okay. Well, just like the bike shop, the Awakening Coffee Shop is one of our social enterprises. And I want to say, too, that even more than the money, because it's really not even a drop of the bucket for what it costs to really operate and run the New Start program, it's a conduit to the community, and it brings people in. I mean, and like you said, I've driven past this place 1,000 times and didn't really know what it was. It brings people in and it gets people connected with an organization that's doing something for the community as a whole. And so it's more than just handing a cup of coffee out or fixing a bike and then somebody coming in and purchasing that. It's about creating a safe place for the community to come in. Kind of like a beacon is what we like to call it. It's a place that's drawing people in. More often than not, I've had people walk into the coffee shop and say, I don't know what brought me in here today. And then we'd end up talking to them. Our guys would share their testimony about what God's brought them through and where they are now. And they just break down and they would talk about things that are going on in their lives. So really, more than anything, the coffee shop is a meeting place for people to come in and just feel like they can talk about what's going on in their lives.
A place where everybody knows your name.
There's some healing. Yeah. Without all the booze.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's true. But and you'd be surprised because especially if you find somewhere that you feel comfortable and you enjoy talking to them, you will come back.
Yeah.
And you will bring people with you.
And we see that now. We've started to.
It's amazing how much stuff happens in that coffee shop.
Yeah.
Gray. Like it's just, there's some just neat things. The neatest people will walk in. Like the community center I was telling you about, the hangar, God had given us a vision for it. And for 3 years, we had a little fundraiser. We couldn't find a building for what we had raised. And I walked into a conversation with the guy right in that coffee shop 8 years ago. And he ended up owning the property where the old segregated school was. And he gave it to us for $1 a year. And it was just a divine appointment. And I'm telling you, just like Jeremiah said, it is a beacon. And we just hang out in there and God just shows up in there every day. And it's just a neat place to be.
All right.
And we have really good coffee.
You have really good coffee.
We really do.
May I recommend the Swayze?
Yes. Come get the Swayze.
Patrick.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
It's smooth with a kick.
Yeah.
I will have to go.
We need to trademark that too because that is our most popular drink now.
You better hurry.
Yeah, right.
Wait, write that down, Greg.
Hey, we're on a recording, right? So that should be
no, Lauren, that means you got it first.
Thank you.
All right, and how do you say her name?
Leonida.
Okay, Leonida's Art Studio and Gift Shop. I saw that. Looks like just an amazing things.
Yeah, so our founder, Bob Mersman, his wife, Leonida, she is just a super talented artist. And so there's a little gift store on one end of our property. And then she's got a little art studio that she does. And she teaches art classes. You can have groups of people, your little Bible study group or whatever, come and she will teach the classes for you. It's a neat little place, and so you could click on our website, mannahouse.tx.com, or you can go to Leonarda's leonardaartblessings.com and schedule an appointment if you want to have your Bible study or your group to come over, and she'll teach these wonderful classes for you and your friends. And so they it's just something they're doing in their older years, and they give a big portion of what they make directly to the Manna House. So.
Okay, so it's a group building, and see, I didn't even. There you go again. Didn't know this was here. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And they have the gift shop. Let's see. We'll click around on it a little bit. Yeah. See what's what. Okay, what's obvious. So basically, she has things that you can purchase. Oh, okay. There you go. Things that you can purchase.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so she's just, her and Bob are very artistic, very craftsman. Bob's got a big old wood shop, and so God's really brought them together kind of do this stuff. So if you have any interest in any of those things, or like I said, you want to learn to paint yourself, she will gladly teach you.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, and let me go back. And we had also, here was your coffee shop again. All right, let's see. All right, and you're at the end of the video, we will have the hours and the information for anybody who's interested in going and visiting. But so here's our menu. You have coffee, non-coffee, fresh pastries. Do you make the pastries?
So we partner with a local company called Milk and Brew, and they serve fresh every day to us. So and they're great as well. Great people and great food.
Wonderful. Well, that's things there. So there's all your things.
And we do coffee catering as well. So if you need coffee catered for any meetings that you may have, any Bible studies, anything like that, give us a shout. We'll gladly take care of you. We're a lot better tasting and a lot cheaper than Starbucks.
Absolutely.
I'm supposed to say that. You're supposed to say that. Graham White Company.
Oh, yeah.
All right. One more. Your bikes. I neglected to pull up this Christmas special you guys gave away. Bite?
Oh, we gave a ton away to our, the organization I was with before is called Eyes on Me, and so they're in 5 inner city communities, and we gave a ton of bikes away to some of the kids in their apartment complex in the Sunnyside neighborhood of Houston. And so we have a lot of great partners that donate bikes to us. Any of you guys got used bikes sitting around in your garage, your kids are grown, man, give us a shout. We will either fix them up or sell them, or we'll find some kids that could use them and donate them. And really helps some, and it all goes to support some really great things.
Yeah, and it shows all the different things you can do.
Yeah, we're full service repair as well, and restoration. We
have all different bikes. Okay,
we have great bikes.
Good deal, because that's all your social enterprises are. Let's see, I'm trying to make sure I hit everything here. And this was like we started here, this was your website. If you go, it shows all the different things that y'all have.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you go to mannahouse.tx.com, you can get information about our New Start program. Jeremiah keeps the site updated pretty well, so you can see about latest happenings. And but really, I just encourage you, if you're in the Austin County area, man, we're not too far. Just come by one day. Yeah. Come get a cup of coffee. Come chop it up with us, and just something will happen when you come on our property. I'm telling you, it's a special, special place. It's blessed by God, and you'll feel it when you come. And let us give you the nickel tour, and especially if you got somebody, somebody struggling with addiction, you don't know what to do. Come talk to us, man. We can help lead you, guide you, give you some ideas on next steps, and just share our stories of hope because. Sometimes when we go through those hard things, you think you're by yourself, but you're absolutely not. There's a lot of people out there that want to help walk with you, and something can change and something can get better. It just takes a few small steps of obedience to start turning this ship around.
I have a couple of questions.
Okay, hold on. Okay, we have We Are Here to Help. You can submit this way, and then we'll have the phone number. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Greg. Greg had questions.
No, go back to the ladies' art studio.
Here?
Yes. Okay. So, it looked like almost like people could have, if you wanted to have like the painting parties.
Oh, absolutely.
They have. Yeah. See right there. Yeah.
Yeah. She does painting parties. That's probably a better word for them than whatever I used. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Any of your groups, it's almost like a paint and sip type of thing without the sip,
Right.
You got the awakening coffee.
Yeah. Here we go.
Except with Swayze.
It's therapeutic, and she offers it for the men too. A lot of the men participate. Actually, we got a lot of their artwork hanging up in the house. So
yeah, she's led classes for our guys, my wife and my girls and their friends, and my wife's in a Moms of Littles group, and they've done all that stuff before too. And so, yeah.
So if you got a group that you want to try to get out and go have some fun as a group, set it up over there, and you'll have fun and you'll be supporting something.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that.
And that's true. And that's one of the things I'm gonna go off in the weeds just for a minute. But that's one of the things that we are trying to do here with Hello Austin County is we want to help our area and surrounding areas. And so that's the thing is rather than going to a national chain to paint, you could go to Manna House and paint and know that you're still getting quality art, quality products, but you're donating to something local.
Yes, ma'am.
And so that's one of the
And
things.
pretty much, other than probably her overhead to take care of it, the rest of it goes to y'all.
Absolutely.
All right, now that's going to lead me.
More.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, on the coffee. If you'll go to their coffee shop.
All right, hold on. Tune up. Coffee. All right.
Go down the packages of it so people can actually go and buy full packages of coffee from y'all.
Oh, absolutely. So we have our private label, oftentimes single origin. We do have some blends. I mean, exceptional coffee from around the world, depending on what season you're in. And so, yeah,
We got some great Brazilian, Colombian, Ethiopian blends. If you're a coffee nerd like Jeremiah here, I'm like Folgers. I'll drink whatever. I just want to wake up a little bit. This man, he knows the ins and outs. And we have great single origin stuff, our private label stuff. We'll get it in there. We'll grind it any way you like it, and it's good stuff.
So it's not even just buying a cup. If you want to go actually start buying coffee to keep at your business or at your house,
Absolutely.
all that money goes to help y'all as well.
oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, and we have takeaways. You can come in real time, and we'll brew you large amounts of coffee as well as our catering. So if you need something for a quick impromptu meeting, we have takeaways that you can come in and get as well, and it's all our house brewed.
Nice. Yeah. All right, which leads us to our how to support us. Okay, there's different ways to support us.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we told you, we have the social enterprises. Like I said, donate bikes, come and get coffee, come hang out. That helps us a lot. Yeah. What we charge the guys is probably about 1/5 of what it costs to operate. We try to keep it as cheap as possible because we really want to make sure that we keep the main thing. So if you're ever interested in getting involved, you could go to our website, make a donation, schedule a meeting with myself or Jeremiah. Again, we'll share the vision with you. We are looking for, monthly donors that would help support us monthly. It really helps us to, create an accurate budget for each year when we have those monthly supporters. So even if it's $5, $10, $15 or $500 a month, man, we could really use your support and covet your support and your prayers. We can it is a lot of warfare, spiritual warfare that goes on when guys are learning to change, learning to live life a different way. And so we definitely covered your prayers, man. Pray for us every day. Pray for the men of the house, and pray that God would just encounter them in a real deep way. And so, if you go to Mannahouse TX, there's plenty of ways to give up there. We'll take it out monthly any way you want to give. If you got any other ideas, man, we got creative ways too. So, like I said, reach out to myself or Jeremiah, and we'll gladly give you the nickel to work.
Now, here's my next question that I ask everybody who asks for donations. Do you have a big board that they take part of the money, or does this go straight to the running of the house?
Oh yeah, we run a skeleton crew with staff, so and we're pretty transparent about those things. If you're coming in and you want to see where our operations or our operational budget is at, we'll gladly show you that stuff. We're a small independent organization, and everything goes straight to the cause.
I would say because a lot of people, myself included, I don't like giving to the big box charities because I know that it goes into their hands and this goes to this goes to this goes, and then the men or the children or the animals or whatever are getting nickels on the dollar, and people feel burned by that. So they know if they give to Manna House, it's going to the running of Manna House and the betterment of these gentlemen and the community.
Absolutely.
The enhancement of the program and the expansion.
Right.
Yeah. And that's, I know we were going to talk about that a little bit, but we have some real good vision for growth that we believe God has given us over the next 3 to 5 years. Again, we have 3 acres there, and our founder, Bob, always envisioned us to have a 25-man dorm in the back. And so we got the first stages done. We got a basketball court there now, but we put the slab deep enough to build a metal building on, kind of like you guys have done here at your place. And we're hoping, in the next 3 years, we'll be able to get that thing funded to get it built, to grow our program and help us triple the size of our program. And we're going to raise up, the staff from within. Yeah. And that's what we believe. Like we're casting that vision to our guys right now. Look, hey, there's a place for you here. We're on the early side of some really nice growth for the Manna House to really keep the heartbeat, but really be able to help more guys. And so our first example of that was the guy I told you I was from here in Sealy, man. He has been with us for over 2 years. He went from a resident to helping us lead our coffee shop when our original program director that ran the coffee shop before started having some health complications. And that's Jacob right there in that picture. And now Jacob's just got promoted. He's come on full-time with the ministry. He's our latest resident advisor. And as we grow, we'll have 3 of those. And they're really to help walk with our guys through the discipleship process.
Okay, that brings us to a question. Some people might be hesitant. They're like, I don't know if I want to do a faith-based program. And, what if? What would you say to these people who are hesitant? They're like, I want the help, but I don't know if I want the religious part of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm not a religious person, and neither was Jesus. So, Jesus was a relational person. So the people Jesus gave the hardest time to were the religious people that talked it but didn't live it, right? And so, man, we're pretty transparent about our warts. We are flawed people, and that's the whole reason we need a savior, right? Not because we want to lift it up and keep it high and mighty over anybody else. Believe me, I'm as broken as they come. You heard my story. I was in a crazy person suit when God found me. And so, look, all I would say is, man, I just want you to get sober. I want you to find the peace that you're looking for. And we have a track record over the past 28 years of working the 12 steps and coming to a relationship with Jesus, the true and living God that will transform your life. And so, man, if you're really struggling in the throes of addiction and you think you've tried everything else, man, the Bible says, taste and see that the Lord is good. Yeah. I'm not talking about a pew-sitting Christian. I'm talking about somebody that wants to come out and love like Jesus loved and show you an easier, a peaceful way. It's just going to take a requirement of being open, honest, transparent, and vulnerable. Yeah. And you will be in a safe place with guys that have walked this before you, and you'll see that really quick. We got a bunch of authentic guys, man.
I was going to say nobody points and says you because they were the same way.
Absolutely, I ain't got no room to point at nobody.
Yeah, either one of us here.
That's what I'm saying.
We've
All right,
been there, done that.
It says set free, set apart, set on fire. What do those words mean in the context of your?
Absolutely. So Jeremiah was saying we have 3 phases of the program, and we've called each one of those phases, the set free, the set apart, and the set on fire stage. And so what that means to us is we want to see you set free from the bondage of addiction. That has enslaved you for how many ever years it was. For me, it was 17 years, right? And so God set me free in all areas of life, from addictive personality to a liar, cheat, stealing, all those stuff, fornicator, all those things, right? And then so we want to see you set free from that, from addictions. We want to see you set apart. That means going through a refining process to help develop your character and set you apart from some of those old mind frames that you used to have that were toxic and sending you down a wrong path, right? And so the Bible talks about renewing your mind. And so one of those things is, when you've had some trauma happened when you're young, you've created these pathways in your brain that have almost taught you to do something a certain way, but it's actually been toxic, right? And so we want to teach you different ways. You got to change the way you think about a few things. And so that's being set apart, is changing the way you think on how you used to do stuff. You can't do things the way you always did them, right? And then we want to see you set on fire. It means we believe that by the time you've walked through this process, God's going to set your heart on fire for Him, that you're going to want to go out and be this man of God, to be this leader in your home and in your community, to show people, to show where you came from, to show your family members, to show people that are struggled with the same things that you do, that there is a way out of this. And we want to see you set on fire for those purposes, right? We believe every person has been uniquely destined by God for a specific assignment. And we want to help cultivate that, to find out what that assignment is for you.
All right. And I was going to show, I neglected to show you. Y'all do have a Facebook page, which of course I just lost this, but sorry about that.
That's all right.
Let's see. There we are. So if you decide you want to go and look, they have all sorts of amazing things. There's your awakening.
Yeah.
There's your.
How did that get?
Hey, wait. Let's see. Oh yeah.
So what you're seeing here is we had our second meeting of a group of like-minded people in and around our region that have an interest in seeing community transformation and then seeing recovery centers like ourselves catalyzing movement together. And so we've dubbed this group, it's the Christian Recovery Coalition, and this is a group of nonprofit leaders in the West Houston area and beyond, some from Tomball, some from Sealy, Fulshear, Richmond area, that have got together monthly to begin to pray together and to see, hey, what can we do together to really make this thing more impactful? Because again, we're better together, right? So,
Right. So basically you could go in, take a look. There's all sorts of amazing things they've got there. Gentlemen, I think our time has come to a close. Are there any words that you want to leave us with? We'll give you each the floor.
yeah, go ahead, Jeremiah.
Well, as Ron said, I just want to echo, and we want to be a beacon for the community. We want to be a refuge. We believe that Brookshire has become that, and we want to perpetuate that. We want to offer a safe place for people to come, whether it's get a cup of coffee, come buy a bike, just come hang out, or if you know somebody that really needs help, we want you to come by, and you're going to most likely walk into the coffee shop and see one of us sitting there. And so we're accessible, and we want to be there for the community.
Yeah, and I agree with Jeremiah. Like, again, addiction's touched every life, every family in one way, shape, or form. And even if it's not a guy and you just don't know what to do, come by and see us.
Yeah.
Come talk to us. Let's sit down face to face. Let us pray with you. Let us talk to you. There is hope. Things can change. It doesn't have to always be like this, right? And it really begins on our knees praying. And then we'll have to do some boundaries. We'll have to draw some boundaries with your loved ones if you got a loved one struggling with addiction, or if you're struggling with addiction yourself and you're watching this. Man, reach out to us, man. Maybe you're not in a place where you need a residential program. Well, we have classes every day. You're welcome to come to them. They're free for everybody. Like you said, just come help, be around some guys that think like you think, that know what you've been through. And don't wait another day. If you think this is a sign from God for you to reach out. It's a sign from God. Call us, come by, sit down and talk with us. We're around always.
Yeah.
All right. And we will have all that information at the end of this. And, we could talk for hours, but at some point we got to cut it short. So gentlemen, thank you so much. And I hope as things go on, and new things occur that you will come back and visit with us. And, Austin County, that's it for today. Don't forget to hit that, like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel and ring the bell for notifications so you always know when a new episode of Hello Austin County is out. We'll catch you next time. And until then, keep on smiling.